Who, let's just start off with the original hobby horse. Who brings that one out?
Well, now the funny thing you just mentioned is bringing out business. Bates have always bought this old hobby, so had usually had to be a particular member of the family of Bates used to bring the hobby horse out, and another very, very old Padstow family with a Scot name, McGowan. McGowans used to tease the horse, and one of the Bates used to bring that. Now, old Colonel Bates, nicknamed Colonel, he's a chap 88 now, and last year was the first year that he missed. He always bought the hobby horse out. And the Bate clan and the McGowan clan, they look forward to that moment on May Day when they can bring the hobby horse out of the Trenow land.
So between them, they're responsible for the whole of the celebration, the repainting and cleaning.
Well, the boys do all that. You say that the boys do all that. They years ago they didn't used to bother. They didn't bother so much about it, and they used to just stick paint on year after year after year after year, and the hobby horse itself weighed no end. But now they've got a bit more sensible, and they had a new hoop, and they got much lighter gown, and they got a much lighter cap with like the you've seen the inside of a crash helmet with like just so that the head can fit, and the whole concern now is much lighter. Because they're on the streets for a lot longer now than they used to be years ago. When I've been going, I started with the men's hobby horse. I used to play a little melodeon, and I went with them when I was about 9 or 10. And of course, in those days there was only just a couple of 3 dozen followers. Padstow was much smaller then. I'm not talking as an old man. I mean, I'm talking about say 45 years ago. And we used to wait. We used to look forward to the 6 o'clock train coming down from Wedbridge to bring down these people to swell the streets a wee bit. Anyway, I used to play this melodeon, and it used to be the one instrument and just the one melodeon, and we used to come out. They used to come out at 10:30 and go in again at 1, and then they used to come out again at 2:30ish. Of course, those lots never came out after 2:30 because they were all under the weather. Then we used to travel around the streets a wee bit and back in again. But I hate to tell you that just before the war, it was really and truly going down, dropping a lot in Padstow. People, even the Padstow people, they didn't bother about the tradition. They didn't sort of worry about tradition at all. They just, as long as the hobby horse came out, and as long as they could hear the music, and as long as they could hear the song, that's all they worried about. That's all they were. Even the streets, even to the decorating the streets, they would never bother. The maypole used to have an old scaffold pole up there from maypole.
Yeah.
Well, then it went on like that, and some more people, they decided, right, if they're going to be like this. Now, I'm talking about my party, my old horse party. I mean, they let it go down and let it go down and let it go down. And then this other party said, right, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll make a hobby horse of our own. Well, they made a hobby horse of their own. And they called it the Blue Ribbon Horse, or the Peace Horse. PACE. They came out in 1919 after the 1418 wars. They came out, and they used to come out for a couple of hours in the afternoon and perhaps a half an hour in the evening. And then as the years went on, they changed the name from Peace Horse to Blue Ribbon Horse. And now, of course, in Padstow there's 2 hobby horses. And there was a need for 2 hobby horses in Padstow now, really, because, well, I'm going to say so many thousands of people coming to see it because the place is jam-packed. Padstow's grown, and now you can't. You've got a job to move in there on May Day. You've got a job to play the squeeze box. You've got a job. The hobby horse got a job to dance for the people. And the place now, well, streets are gaily decorated. They make sure that they have new flags and There's plenty of the working committee to get the place decorated up. The Maypole is a real sight.
Who is the working committee?
Well, the boys of the both hobby horse parties.
I see.
The boys of the both hobby horse parties. And I'll tell you where we scored to. We've got a wonderful lot of women in Padstow, you see. Now, we've got a wonderful Red Cross and St John's contingent, you see. Women. And they do all the decorating of the Maypole. And of course, if the weather's bad and we haven't been able to get any spring flowers, well, they set to work making paper flowers, you see. And we always compensate them on the 2nd day of May, because we travel around the streets and we collect no end of money for their organisations, you see.
Oh, thank goodness.
So, so really, that's how it goes. But I would, you've got to come to Padstow to, well, the children, little kiddies, like I was mentioning just now, the Bates and the McCorns. That's not the only 2 families in Padstow. But you see little kiddies, little Padstow kiddies, 2s and 3s and 4s. As soon as they hear that tune, their feet are going. They want to dance. They just got to be there. It's born in them. It's part of their birthright. It's in them. It's just in them, you see.
Yeah.
And you just got to look at those children. That's all, and you'll satisfy yourself. It's really good.
I was down there in '67, and I found there were a tremendous number of people there.
Oh yes, too many people.
Too many people.
Yeah. Well, I shouldn't be nasty and say that too many people. There's lots and lots and lots of people come down to Padstow. They don't come down. They're not interested in tradition at all. I shouldn't say this. I agree. They're not interested in tradition at all. They just come for a real boozer. That's what they come for. We've tried to get through. We've tried to get down through the streets before, and they've had their arms linked and trying to stop us from going through the streets. And they've been sitting down on the pavement with their legs across the pavement. You see, and. I mean, it's Padstow's day. It's our day. You know, we like to think we got room to. I don't want to stop them coming. You know what I mean? We like to see them down there, but I like to think there'll be a wee bit more room for the boys to dance.
Yeah.
And that, you see, you just can't move. Last year was a wee bit better. I suppose it was because it was on a Monday. See, if ever it fall on a Saturday, see, it's a hell of a job. Then they got that weekend. But I think you'll find as time go on, people will have a little bit more respect, you know, and that sort of say, make way for the hobby horse, make way for the hobby horse, not sort of cramp it in.
How do you get on with the other hobby horse team?
Very well. Well, there used to be a bit of friction years ago, you know, but that was back in. But now it's different, much different altogether. They have a sort of a combined meeting just before May Day, and they sort out their route, and we sort out our route, and then again we always meet 3 times, midday, afternoon, and evening. Always meet 3 times. And then the 2 hobby horses dance together, exchange teasers. The old hobby horse man get in the piece horse, and the piece horse get in the other, and all the musicians get together and drums all together, all in the one band. And this is what I like about it. You see, that little bit of friendliness. You see, that's got to be the word all through. Although you never get anywhere if there isn't that little bit of friendly atmosphere. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
They had a wonderful do here. They had a wonderful do here 2 years ago. 2 years ago. It was a wonderful sight, really. The Blue Ribbon Horse, I keep calling them the Peace Horse, but the Blue Ribbon Horse went out towards the end of the estuary, and they walked in, and we went up by the old railway station. We were walking down, and we could see them coming from about half a mile away. They could see us coming from about half a mile away, and then when we got right on the quay, it was wonderful. They just had that, you know, just danced together. It was real nice. But when you see, I have seen them previous years, you know, sort of dodging one another. But as I say, this year, although it was on a Monday, we had a dickens of a job to get together because of the people. See, we wanted to get together to have that dance in the marketplace with the two hobby horses. This was in the evening, but we just could not get together because of the people. The people, the crowds out, and we just couldn't get through. You see.
Yeah.
So of course, consequently, we had to back out of it and go around another way. So that's where the crowds. You see.
Yeah. It's sad when that happens, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think the tune. I think it's a wonderful tune. I honestly think it's a wonderful tune. The night singing, I like the night singing. Now here we go again. We always start singing from the Golden Lion. You see, that's the home of the hobby horse. That's the stable, shall we say? And we used to get out there about 11:45. Now the church, perhaps the church is not very far away, and we could just stand outside there and easily hear the old clock strike the hour of midnight. But now, it's impossible. There are hundreds and hundreds of people out there.
I always bring a book to the Sunday morning singer and she's right.
Yes, well, I didn't.
Can I take you up on the question of the horse itself? I've got a photograph, funnily enough, of you walking over and pushing the hobby horse, touching it, I don't know quite. It looks as though you're deliberately touching it. Hey, there's nothing in the way. Is it in fact accustomed to touch the hobby horse?
No, not really. I suppose I may have been going over to the hobby horse and you see perhaps the cap, perhaps they were beckoning or somebody was beckoning and the cap was wrong, the cap was too tight or something like that. That's the only time. Of course, the kiddies love to go up and touch the hobby horse for loving children, you know. But usually if you see the old boy on the hobby horse, whoever's on the hobby horse, so he puts his head on one side or the other side, you can say to yourself, hello, there's something wrong. His strap's a bit tight or something's gone wrong. And that's when someone always go over, whoever see it first, go over and perhaps and sort of adjust it.
Yeah. Who does the night singing then? Is it the Bate family again?
Yeah, we always start. I've always been with the night singing. About four or six of us get together. You see, lots more than that. But you've got to have leaders. You see, there's a sequence of the verses in it. It's just as well as sing roll out the barrel if you haven't got the stuff sequence right. It's unite and let us all unite for summer is a coming today. Whether we're going all unite in the very morning of May. Then the second verse of the night song is, I warn you, young men, everyone, for summer is a come on today, to go into the greenwood and fetch your May home in the merry morning of May. Then, whoever the landlord and landlady is of the Golden Lion, it would be, rise up, Mrs. Hawken, now, rise up, Mrs. Hawken, all in your gown of green, for summer is a come on today. You are as fine a lady as wait upon the Queen in the merry morning of May. Rise up, Tony Hawken. I know you well and fine, for summer is a coming today. You have a shilling in your purse, I wish it was in mine, in the merry morning of May. And then, now we fare you well, and we bid you all good cheer, for summer is a come on today. We'll call once more unto your house before the merry morning. And so we go around to all the that we know are the original Padstow people, and of course all the notabilities and everything else. And we rise them up, and they're waiting. They're waiting up. You'll see the lights come on in the bedroom. And then when Douglas and Helen Kennedy came down, they stayed at the Harbour View, and I gave them the tip. I said, we should be over in about 10 minutes. And there was Helen and Douglas. They switched on the light and looked out of the window. It was real good. They hadn't been in Padstow for years and years and years. And that's what we do anyway. Travel around to the different until about 3 o'clock in the morning. And what we always look forward to, this has been a tradition too. Now, the last port of call is the London Inn.
Okay, fine, yes.
But one particular year, I don't know how many years, several years ago, they wanted to come and film us. And yes, by all means. No that we stressed. I mean, it isn't for me. It's for the people of Padstow. If they like to come and take the films and didn't interfere with the perambulations, shall I say, of the obvious, didn't get in the way, everything was all right. But no, they didn't. They just didn't. We couldn't get out of the doorway of the Golden Lion because they were there. Stay there. You've got to stay there for a moment, and so on and so. But you just can't do that on May Day, you see, because it's Padstow's day. It's our day on May Day. Well, and they wasn't satisfied with that. We got down into the little narrow street and wanted us to pose there, and they had the cameras right across the road. So anyway, by lunchtime, it got a wee bit, you know. Anyway, they did what they wanted to do, and that was all. They did what they wanted to do. And then they said, they had a meeting, the both obviouses had a meeting. You could come with your cameras and do what you like, providing you didn't interfere with the interferes. But that was I think that was the main trouble. I mean, after all, we wait 12 months for this. You know, you go out onto the streets, and when you get somebody who goes, stay there, I want you to take a photograph, stay there. Especially with a big camera. It didn't go down very well.
Yeah, they certainly ran for it when they saw the horse coming, I know that much.
Yes. Yeah. And how many times have you been down there then?
Just once.
Oh, just the once.
I came down once, and you know, that was in '67. It was pretty crowded.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I don't know, you know, it'd be nice to come down again, but there could be too many people.
Oh yeah. You're right too.
I thought, well, if I come down again, I'll make sure I come down midweek.
Yeah.
When most people won't be there. With a bit of luck, you won't get the trippers so much as you get the people who are really interested.
True.
It could be a very pleasant day. But I must admit, I did enjoy it very much.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing.
And you had a fine day. The weather was all right, wasn't it?
Oh, gorgeous, yes.
Yeah.
So I seemed to walk miles that day.
Old Colonel, the old boy I was telling him about just now, I think he's 88 this year. Pete Kennedy came down one year and wanted to make a tape of Colonel, you see. I must tell you this, you'll smile at it. And what Colonel likes is drop of beer, you see. Peter said, now then, Colonel, do you like to see lots and lots and lots of people here on May Day? Colonel said, yes, sir. So the more people, the more ale, you see. You really like your hobby horse, don't you, Colonel, says Peter. Colonel said, I do really like my hobby horse. He said, sir, he said, if I was to die tomorrow, he said, I hope the hobby horse come and dance on my grave so long as I live. That's gone down on tape. They got that in the library. If I die tomorrow, he said, I hope the hobby horse come and dance on my grave so long as I live. Poor Colonel.
Oh, yeah.